I'm going to be real for a moment and say what a lot of people have been thinking but don't always say out loud. Stupendous Wave is a perfect example of how a Star Wars channel can drift from genuine passion into pure outrage farming. He didn't start this way. Early on, his channel felt like it cared about lore, theories, and exploring the universe. It felt curious. It felt creative. But somewhere along the way, the focus clearly shifted from exploration to anger, clickbait, and constant controversy. Now, a huge amount of his content is driven by outrage. Every topic turns into a war. Every disagreement turns into a hostile stance. Instead of breaking down why something works or doesn't work, it often becomes this cycle of stirring up frustration for views. And that's not analysis anymore. That's performance. One of the biggest complaints people have about him online is how deeply he's leaned into toxic sequel trilogy discourse. And no, criticizing the sequels isn't the issue. Criticism is healthy. The problem is when it stops being constructive and turns into non-stop culture war framing. At that point, you're no longer talking about Star Wars. You're just farming division. Another issue is how much he relies on hyperdramatic titles and shock value framing. Everything is presented like a massive scandal or some huge betrayal. That kind of delivery might get clicks in the short term, but it destroys credibility long term. When everything is treated like the end of the world, nothing feels meaningful anymore. What makes it worse is how criticism often gets framed as personal attacks instead of debate. If someone disagrees with him, it doesn't feel like a discussion anymore. It feels like sides being drawn. That kind of mindset turns fandom into tribal warfare instead of a shared love for a fictional universe. And that's the real damage here. Star Wars is at its best when people argue, theorize, and imagine together. When creators turn every discussion into an us versus them situation, they poison the well. New fans get pushed away, casual fans get insulted, long-time fans get exhausted. The algorithm rewards outrage. I get that. But creators still make a choice in how they show up. You can criticize without being hostile. You can dislike things without turning everything into a battlefield. You can be passionate without being perpetually angry. The sad part is this. Stupendous Wave could have been a channel that unified different parts of the fandom through lore, speculation, and creative discussion. Instead, it often feels like it thrives on controversy more than curiosity. And once your channel is fueled by anger instead of insight, you stop contributing to the franchise. You just feed off it.